All right, welcome all. So this is a video for today. Is it for today? Today's the 13th still. So it's a video for tomorrow. And this will be, I think, in late tomorrow in terms of I think I'm doing it for Washington, D.C., so nation. So Pacific time, it would be earlier in the day. And Eastern United States, this will be later in the day. And this other countries it'll be a day earlier, and I think that's Australia. And okay, so here we go. So it's too big. So this is for the full moon in North Node in Gemini that has been building. This is a 24-degree new moon. You can see here the sun and the moon are together. Now it seems a very powerful, kind of active, present in society, social, having to do with power. Hecka is the fixed star that it's conjuncting. It's not listed here. So it seems to be a very powerful new beginning, a new time to start a new business or a new facet of one's business or a new endeavor to bring it through. And it is a time for that, I mean. And I will, of course, wait a couple of days after for the crescent moon. So when there's visible energy of the moon present for the manifestation. And it is a very powerful new moon, as its rulership, Mercury, is presently in the sign of, well, let's find it here, in Cancer, moving towards Jupiter and soon going to go retrograde. So it's in shadow. And you can see Jupiter approaching Venus there. So all this amazing expansion energy in Cancer and Leo energy, especially with Venus just now coming into Leo. And I'll do a separate video on that because that's very special in itself, but it's also, it's also all relative to your chart. Truth is something kind of relative to where one is at. And there's a lot of asteroids and other features that I'm going to add in to layer this meaning of this full moon. But on a very basic general level, it's just a very powerful new beginning. It's in Gemini, so it's ruled by Mercury. So it's something oriented towards communication and creating bridges with others, business, enterprise, tech. We have Uranus in Gemini as well, although it's far away from this new moon. It's over here, 2 degrees Gemini. Now there's a major underworld theme also occurring, but before I go there, I want to speak about some other things happening. Uranus is at 2 degrees Gemini, and that's an exact square to the North Node destiny. And I've been talking about that as, being ruled by Jupiter and Neptune. North Node in Pisces is about intuiting our direction, seeing in the dark, trusting our intuitions. And even though everything appears otherwise, even though the logic stacks, and the numbers say something different, you have to go with how you feel at this time. Now, the North Node is in square to Uranus in Gemini. And so that square, Uranus is something very unpredictable. It's not something that we can forecast always clearly. It's just, in its nature, it's unpredictable, unknown, shocking. It's known as a malefic, and it's a sudden shift. And even as astrologers and human design analysts, all we can do is hope for the higher frequency, trust that it will bring change and it will bring the correct rebellion. And the lower frequency, of course, would manifest as chaos. The higher frequency is freedom. A new level and density and awareness of freedom. And that's intention to our North Node destiny. So there's something that we don't know, whether it's the price of our freedom or whether it's knowing the details of how the technology is being translated into our world right now. I mean, the dark side of it is kind of obvious, but how that will come about with digital currencies and digital surveillance is becoming clearer every day. But how that affects us on a biological level, we've been slowly becoming aware of. I mean, they're radiating our cells. I don't want to get into this. This is not happy-go-lucky thematics. And there are happy-go-lucky thematics to this, in the sense of being in our heart and choosing to commune with nature and the world and the air and the breath and with oneself, and in trust of wherever you're at is the right place. It seems that this new moon is impacted by other aspects, and this may weigh heavy for those who feel it. There's some changes that have come into being, some new directions, some recent shifts that I think many are feeling. And it has to do with looking deeper at oneself and going deeper inward. And I see this nuanced in this new moon chart by the fact that we have Black Moon Lilith here in Sagittarius at 21 degrees opposing this new moon in Gemini. Meaning to say, like, the surface, it looks like clear and clean, like a new business, a new way forward. But there's something we're either repressing about ourselves, some truth we're repressing, or something we're not feeling ready to present to the world, or to communicate to another or to others. And it's our on some level, it's our truth. I mean, Lilith is in Sagittarius, and Lilith is about abandon. It's about sharing our deepest instinctual power and communicating that and sharing that with intensity, with who we are, in a raw way. But it's in tension with this new moon, so there's something that, an opposition is coming to the center. The medicine is in the other sign, the other side. So there's always a balance to be found, some kind of meeting in the middle to be found. And so things will need to be said and communicated. And it's an underworld new moon. It really is, because the aspects surrounding it. Uranus has just left its conjunction with Sedna, which is the woman whose father banished to the underworld and cut off her fingers so she couldn't climb back into this world. And I mean, it's another raw deal mythology with the story of Sedna, which is like a human mermaid. And it's a horror story of a female subject just being thrown down to the underworld. And Uranus just left that, so that thematic is with Uranus. And Uranus is moving towards Urania, which is an asteroid about science and astrology and spiritual balance. And then it's moving towards, let me see if I have that there, towards Ceres, which is nurturing, and the goddess of nurturance. And we also have Hecate here in conjunction with the North Node, and Hecate is the goddess of the underworld. She's the one who led Persephone to the underworld, and who follows Persephone out of the underworld when she leaves it, for the time of year that she leaves the underworld. And it's a goddess that represents the light in dark places, the light that guides us when we're lost, when we're at a crossroads, when we're in a liminal space, beholden unto a threshold. And so these thematics of the nodal destiny are really strong right now and painful, because some of us are kind of realizing that the trajectory we've been on, that we have to make a sudden shift and move in a different direction. And many of us are feeling this, and this is kind of the undercurrent of what's happening right now. And depending on where it is in your chart, and I could look at that deeper for those who want to get on the monthly call. I decided on the monthly call I'm going to integrate personal charts to people's, people's comfortability, and, share kind of the electional and kind of what's going on for the month, and how these deep emblematic themes really affect us on an individual level. Because where is it that the Pisces North Node is in your chart? Where is Hecate giving you a light right now through darkness? And so these are a lot of underworld asteroids here, with Lilith opposing the North Node, the new moon in Gemini at 24 degrees, as well as the North Node conjunct Hecate, the guiding light of the underworld, of the way forth in darkness. We have Chiron moving into Taurus, forcing us to look at our finances, our body. Are we taking care of ourselves? Are we taking care of our finances? Or are we still stuck in the idealisms of Aries? And Uranus conjuncting Sedna, another goddess of the underworld, and moving towards Urania. So there are some powerful themes here of us dealing with the crossroads at this new moon, and talking to friends and family and others. It does seem that there's a theme right now that all of a sudden there's a sudden shift of energy, and what was working before is not working right now. And so there's a space being created for us to reinvigorate ourselves in our own solitude, in our own isolation, in our own all oneness. And that's becoming more and more prevalent and aware as Mercury moves into retrograde. As of today, Mercury just went into its shadow period. So that's a week or two before the actual retrograde. So, and it's in Cancer, so it has to do with our home, And what is the home? I mean, the home is where the heart is. Where our heart is. That's our home. But in the sign of Cancer, it's our physical home. It's our environment. It's those that are home to us, that we find home in. And it's all following Venus into the heart of the matter, because we're moving, signs are moving, the nodes are moving into Leo next month. And July is another huge, impactful moment of this year. I know I railed on about the Aries vortex in February that was leading up to it, and now we have the other high impact time of this year, and that's the build up towards Jupiter moving into Leo on June 29th, and that's like a day after, or the day on the full moon of this month, which will be in Capricorn. And as soon as Jupiter goes into Leo, into the heart of man, it will test the fires of our integrity and of our direction. It'll test the flame within us in the alcove of our heart as we move forward amidst all kinds of chaos. Because Jupiter will slowly oppose Pluto. All the planets moving into Leo over the period of August will slowly oppose Pluto. And this happened, something like this occurred in January on the 21st, when Pluto went through its yearly opposition with, or conjunction with, the Sun. And it went through all the Aquarius planets, and there were so many hidden things that happened at the time. Gary and I called that out as something that happened in Asia. It was like a secret attempt to do a coup on the leader of China, the presidential leader. Gary had actually found this out. And for this time period, the thematic returns, because it's just the same in opposition. Now it's the Sun in Leo, And instead of conjunct Pluto, it's opposed. So the thematics of leadership, our leaders, is coming under the spotlight for the next year as the nodes move into Leo, as the eclipses occur in Leo. And when there's eclipses in, whatever sign an eclipse is in, that's an eclipse of those leaders, or the symbolic representation or the substitute of those leaders. And it will affect Leos for the next year, Leos and Aquariuses. And Aquarius is already being affected by the Pluto transit through Aquarius and opposing Leo as well. So this is a very powerful time. Also, I'll get deeper into it in my monthly, which will be at the end of this month, probably the last week of the month. So it's in like maybe a week and a half or so. So those who would still like to join and try it out, keep in mind you can join the monthly through my website, Plutonic Planes, and you can just sign up for the month, and see if you enjoy it, or, for that time period, and then unsubscribe. I think it's a pretty easy setup that I have. I wanted to do like one-off so people could just sign up for 1 month, but it's just easier to do it this way. So you can just sign up and then sign off it, sign up, sign off. And for those who want to commit to a full year, it's highly discounted. So you can check that out on plutonicplanes.com. And so that's the peak that's this new moon that I'm doing here, and then just a quick peek into July. I mean, there's layers of what's happening, not to mention the Mercury retrograde, which I did talk about, but that'll be affecting all of July as well. So I'll leave it at that for now. Take care of yourselves. This is a really difficult time of transition, I feel, because we don't really know why we're moving in the ways we are, but it just feels to go in those directions, and it can be very painful at this time. And so I wish you all the best, and to take care of yourselves. Thanks so much for watching, and please comment below. It really helps me and really helps expose this video more. Okay, thanks.